We're live. Hey, everybody. We're back with another episode of Prep or Die. I am DM Jeremy.
I'm
Aphi
DM
is
Aphi.
my co-host and confidant. We have three guests tonight. I'm going to tell you something about doing shows with guests. Sometimes timelines don't work out. And you're left to scramble to find people, and that was kind of where we were this week. So these three fine gentlemen are not only our GMs, DMs, they are our heroes tonight. Yeah, well, B team is not the right way to put it. These three gentlemen were all on our list actually, because we have a list and we just go to the list and we're like, let's start asking these people now if they'll come, as opposed to when we have availability. So I think we have some really cool pictures tonight. If you've watched Prep or Die before, the artwork that we're dealing with tonight is a little different. There's a lot of color work tonight. We do a lot of black and white. So we've got a lot of color work tonight, and some pretty interesting images.
I'm excited. Very excited.
Which I should get my info sheet up on.
That would probably be helpful. I feel like, they should be able to hear where these images come from.
Yeah,
but while you're getting that, DM Drew, who are you?
I am captain / founder of Team Drew's Basement. I explained to the guys before, this is complete coincidence. I actually stream my Dungeons & Dragons campaign. I've been DMing since I was 14 years old. I'm a forever DM, and the campaign that I stream, which again will be streaming tomorrow night, the campaign's been going for 20 years, and one of the guys in the group has been in it for all 25 years I've been DMing. So
wow.
Other than that, I do miniature painting. I've been on Miniature Wargaming's channel. I'm on the Sanguine Reaper Wolf Challenge right now, where basically worldwide a bunch of painters.
Wait a minute, you've been on Mini Wargaming?
I have for Age of Sigmar and 40K.
With Matt and Dave?
Oh yeah, and as a matter of fact, Mountain Man Steve is who I played in 40K.
I don't know if you know this, but I played in their in-house D&D game.
I did not know that. And they did not tell me that.
It's a small world after all.
I used to drive to the Mini Wargaming Studios like once a week to do a D&D show. I was a player. So
That's
there
awesome.
You go.
We were just there in November filming.
Holy cow! Small world.
Yep.
Well, that's awesome. And
your Team Drews on Twitch?
No, I think they're on YouTube.
I'm on Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram.
Are you on both?
Yeah, for Twitch, it's twitch.tv, team_Drews_basement.
Okay.
Same with Instagram, it's at team_ a bunch of letters, because I need 100 subscribers, so do it.
You stream on YouTube though as well, right?
YouTube and Twitch, yeah. At the same time.
So you haven't gotten your affiliate yet?
No. I mean, we only just started streaming, I would say, a couple months ago.
Don't make excuses.
It's poor content. I don't know what to tell you.
We'll get people there.
Quite crap.
Awesome.
Okay, who's next?
Next we have our friend over at Cantrips and Coffee, DM Cade.
Hey.
The better half, right? The better half.
Oh,
the better half.
Easily the better looking half. I don't know about better as far as actual quality, but...
I mean, in comparison.
We've already had Ruin on.
Yeah, we had to lowball you guys so that we didn't, really astound you too fast and then have nothing to, top
That's
it.
okay.
Yeah, that
That's
tracks.
okay.
That tracks.
You do more than Cantrips and Coffee though. Like you have your guitars going. I see a guitar in the background.
Yeah. In addition to doing Cantrips and Coffee, which for people who aren't aware is a podcast that we do on Spotify and all things podcast related, go check it out and rate it 5 stars would be great.
Yes.
I also build guitars under the name Ravencroft Guitars on Instagram and YouTube. You can check that out. I'm currently building one for an international guitar building competition that I'm going to be giving away to a kid who deserves it. So
yeah, that's awesome.
That's so cool. I play
And-
guitar too.
Oh, do you?
Mhm.
You
As a matter
we
of
got
fact,
guitar players?
I was in a heavy metal band that actually played on the Vans Warped Tour.
What
nice.
is the heavy metal band's name?
We're not. It's so lame. It's Dead Society. We've broken up
That-
since, but
Heavy metal bands generally have really kick-ass names.
yeah, not ours. It was really sad.
Unalive.
That's why they broke up.
Assembly.
Hey, if you're curious about Cantrips and Coffee and Old Men Rolling Dice, which I may know a thing or two about, I did a collab not long ago. We played Lamentations of the Flame Princess. It's not out yet, but look for it in May. Look for it in May when I'm all done school and can actually edit. May, it's coming. Okay, Captain, you're all that's left.
Yeah, I'm Al McLean. I go by just another Captain on the internet. I have a YouTube channel and that, and what I really do is I paint miniatures, and I do a lot of stuff with the military, and I also post all my epic camping trips I do with my friends. But my big thing now is I'm trying to get that YouTube going, and I paint miniatures, and just got in the mail today. If one of you guys can see it, I just got my Army Painter speed painting set.
Yeah.
So there will
Those are
be a YouTube
so
video on
good.
that this weekend. So
Okay,
I'm
wait a
hoping to
minute.
get that out.
The Speed Painter Army Painter speed painting set, is that like the
That is
new-
that is
version
Army Painters.
of the Citadel?
Yes, it's supposed
Can
to
I
be.
hop in there for a second?
Yes, you may.
Okay, so the speed paints, because I'm a big Army Painter user.
Yes,
they're
so am
my
I.
primary line.
Exhibit
Their
A.
speed paints actually, and I'm not to speak ill of GW's product, it does what I think their contrast paints were supposed to do. It's such a cleaner,
Yeah,
nicer product. It's
That's
really
what I'm hearing, and
phenomenal.
it's supposed to be cheaper. So I'm really excited to see what it'll do. I do like the contrast paints. That's the only thing I really keep from GW because I don't like their other brands. But big Vallejo fan too, so I just kind of want to see what it's going to do, and I'm kind of excited. And I might make a YouTube video over that over the Easter break because thanks to an IT job I did yesterday, I'm self-isolating for 5 days.
Oh no.
Aphi, do
Hooray
you use
for me.
contrast paints?
I do have some contrast paints, but for the
Mhm.
most part, I
I
use
have the
model
complete
colors.
line of contrast paints because
Yeah.
my single biggest weakness is I am one of those people that if I see a paint, I need a paint.
Mm.
Hence this
Yeah,
huge collection
yeah.
back here.
When those contrast paints came out, because I do a bit of painting. I play Age of Sigmar. Not although my Space Wolves are in this cabinet behind me, I'm not really a 40k player anymore. But I really enjoyed using the contrast paints. So if the Army Painter set is better, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out because I'm a lazy painter now. At this point, I don't have a lot of time for it. So the contrast paints really save time, and
I don't find the
gave a great
contrast
effect.
paint save any time, but I use the contrast paints for those pro tip here. Whatever I do as my base coat, I'll then hit it with the contrast paints. I find they do a better job than a wash, and it's kind of putting like a wash and a glaze on your piece, and it really makes them pop.
Well, there you go. If
that
you're
could-
here to learn about how to prep one shots, we've just given you.
Yeah.
Well,
How to,
It's
how
for
to
all you
paint
guys.
instead.
Yeah, they are not as advertised as a quick and easy for a brand new painter to paint. If you're a brand new painter, go get yourself something cheap like some Army Painters paints to learn with and use that first. Consider it a paint by numbers and just paint each little spot of it one color, throw a wash on it, you're good to go. It'll be tabletop ready. To quote the Sonic Sledgehammer, who does a YouTube channel that I've learned a lot from, he says, any model with paint on it, no matter what it looks like, will be 1,000 times better looking than one that's just gray.
There are
Truth.
hundreds of Warhammer players that
Yeah.
would agree with you.
That's all
Maybe
you just
thousands.
put paint on it. Don't be afraid.
Definitely did not glance at that giant
Yeah.
box Jeremy dropped off at my house before Christmas.
Yeah. Just throw some paint on it, work on it, and before you know it, you'll be there. Don't worry about
sending
what
more
like it
miniatures
is.
to Alan. Alan's going to paint stuff up for me.
Yeah, send me your stuff. I'll gladly
is
do
funny.
it.
So if we could do a Venn diagram, do you know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
For a Venn diagram? Okay. I think Dungeons and Dragons players, there's certain things that they just naturally overlap into. Like if you're a role player, there's probably some mini painting that's happened at some point in your house. There's also probably, I find there's a lot of comic book overlap between
Oh dear
people
God.
people that
I have
game
over
and people
13
that read comic books.
Over
Yeah.
1,300 comic books in my basement from my adolescent youth.
There you go. There you go.
Rock-
I think it's natural, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Heavy metal. A
Yeah.
lot of people.
I was in a Death Leopard when I was young. Yeah, back when I used to have hair
have leopard.
for my alopecia.
I'm gonna come over there and slap you.
Keep my
Okay,
DM's main Matty Mouth.
Yeah, it's
So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna drop our 3 guests into their coma silence, and Aphi and I will go through the artwork.
Good
that we're
luck,
using
gentlemen.
Tonight.
You guys
well.
too.
Drew says he's pretty much already done. So take a break for half an hour.
I don't mind if I do.
Okay.
Just remember that
Okay.
you're on cam. We can see you pick your nose.
Okay,
All
put
right.
them into the coma
I'm
silence.
going.
Let's
I'm
get through this
going.
artwork stuff, and we'll get back to them in 30 minutes. And if they're not prepped, they'll die.
Yeah. Major unaliving going on here.
Exactly. Okay, I have my info sheet up. I am ready to go.
All right.
What do you have for me? What's first?
So to start, we have what looks to be an adventuring party on a bridge, fighting maybe bullywugs if you're going D&D 5e.
No.
But then you kind of look a little closer, and we're seeing laser swords and a rifle of some sort in the wizard's hand.
Yes.
So-
A laser guided laser gun, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe even.
It's
So,
it's a thing.
do you know where this artwork comes from?
I could not tell you to save my life.
I will be honest. This is a recent find of mine, and it's why I insisted that it be included, because I just loved it so much. So this is the cover art from TSR's module DA2, Temple of the Frog. And it
Okay.
was released. Okay, this is some interesting history for you. So DA2 was released in 1986, but Temple of the Frog was actually sort of like the first printed D&D adventure that TSR ever put out.
hmm
And it was included in the early original D&D white box books. There was a book that came out, and it is part of the Blackmore series. Blackmore was written by Dave Arneson, who was Gary Gygax's sort of partner as D&D was being created. And then Dave Arneson some will tell you Gygax pushed him out, but basically his name becomes less and less seen. And then TSR is trying to sell more books in the 80s, so they release a set of modules that are given credit being written by Dave Arneson, but also written by an author called Dave Ritchie. And this is the cover art for DA2. There was 4. DA2, Temple of the Frog. And the artist is Dennis Beauvais.
Okay.
And that's maybe a lot, but I'm I really geeked out about this one.
It's a very cool piece of art. I know we're pretty traditional here. We like our black and white pictures, but
Mostly because Jason does all that.
mostly because Jason does it and he loves it.
Yes.
No, I like it. It's different from, even a standard sort of, this is an adventuring party and they're in mid-battle. You just kind of look at it and there's more and more details. You have these frogs in the foreground that are kind of leaning on each other, let's go,
Yeah.
let's do it. And, you've got the one kind of tap dancing around the laser in the background.
It sort of mixes the science and the fantasy.
Absolutely.
Science fiction and fantasy, which is not uncommon in early fantasy writings, and a lot of the books that inspired the creation of Dungeons and Dragons mixed fantasy and science fiction, and this sort of is definitely in that wheelhouse. But I
Yeah.
think there's enough there that this is still a pretty fantastical fantasy, as you said, adventuring party on a bridge fighting off
Yeah.
a swarm of man-eating toads or
And you
something.
have the lone female character in her underwear.
Well, that armor, as you know, protects better than any.
Oh,
regular
absolutely. The exposed midriff and thighs definitely going to protect against any
Just
sort
so
of
you know.
laser blast.
Just so you know, there is no. If you research your DMG or your player's handbook, you will notice that the feminine version of plate mail and the male version of plate mail Same armor class.
Yes, I am aware.
Regardless of presentation. Please remember this is from the 80s. Let's excuse that.
Yeah. There is an episode of Viva La Dirt League, just to shout that out. I love them. They're from like New Zealand or Australia. And they have a whole episode dedicated to this one character trying to get epic plate mail armor that isn't a bikini. And it's fantastic. Go watch it.
I like the fact that like this is obviously like one of the first things we see here is, what the hell is that? Where is all her armor? who goes into the swamp like that?
Like the mosquito bites alone.
Exactly. This poor girl is going home itching everything.
Oh God. Maybe she's lucky and the wizard is extra sweet, so the mosquitoes are attracted to him instead.
Maybe. I do like her sword though.
Yes, the sword is very cool.
And her headpiece is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, the sort of like skeletal wings.
Yeah,
I dig it.
But I hear you. Maybe not the most
protective.
We'll just leave it. I was not gonna say protective. I was gonna say something worse. But okay.
All right. So our next one threw me for a loop actually when you sent it, because I was immediately in like Star Wars, going to Dagobah. The ship is rotting in the swamp. And like, I know we're trying to make it so it isn't like campaign or module specific. Like it doesn't have to be D&D. It doesn't have to be Pathfinder. You can do other stuff. It just sort of like shocked me actually when you sent it, because it was so different from anything else that we've shown, really.
We tried to take a left turn on this one.
I would say that's a fair thing.
So this image is called The Swamp, and it's by a freelance CG artist by the name of Sergei Vasnev. And we found his image on ArtStation. And I was immediately taken in by this, because I love the fact that, okay, clearly that's a spaceship.
Yeah.
But there's also a set of people just sort of rowing in a boat.
Yeah.
And there looks to be some sort of shack or sort of makeshift home under the ship.
Yeah.
And I thought here's a ship that maybe crashed so long ago nobody remembers how it got there or why it's there. But, the locals in a fantasy world have just kind of moved in.
Yeah, they've repurposed it. And nature's sort of taken over too, like all of the sort of Spanish moss that's hanging off of it, and you can see on the sort of the propulsion system in the back, like all the moss and the tree and the bush that's sort of grown over it. I think it's very, very cool, and I really hope that they, look a little bit more into the details with the people rowing towards it and the guy on the dock under it.
This thing's never going to fly.
Oh, God, no.
Like, this is included in your... This is something I would sort of encourage you to maybe do. This ship is not going to change the campaign world necessarily. Like, it's never going to fly again.
No.
It's not like your D&D characters are now going to space and we're doing some kind of Spelljammer adventure. But, maybe there is some sort of power source or something they find on board the ship that's, going to have an effect. Or maybe it's just been there so long that it's just an interesting piece of eye candy that you're like, what was it? And everybody's like, we don't know.
And then they spend the next 4 sessions trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
and you don't have to prep anything.
We don't need to prep anything. Are you kidding me? You just have to put this in.
Put some weirdness in and they will be stuck.
I really liked this picture. Also, because I've recently acquired Temple of the Frog.
Mm-hmm.
Temple of the Frog is a module all about a crew of a spaceship that has crashed on a sort of fantasy world.
Shut up, really?
It really is.
Oh, man.
The module itself is about a ship that crashed, and then with their technology in that, they present themselves as gods to the people.
Yeah.
A cult begins to follow them.
D. Northcutt in chat says there's definitely a skeleton in a spacesuit in there somewhere. And I
think
agree.
So. I think so. Or even let's go alien with this. The engineer race, the big.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen Alien? Where in the very first Alien, as they're exploring the ship, there's sort of a pilot sitting in in a chair with sort of like a telescope thing coming down towards him. And the party finds something like what is it? Why is it here?
Yeah.
You know.
And then they get stuck on that for another 2 sessions.
in a lot of my current homebrew games, I've been sort of experimenting with this, put a little bit of sci-fi into my fantasy. And I don't know if my players have enjoyed it, but I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. Been a lot of fun.
I mean, I enjoy everything that you throw at me at our table, so I'm here for it.
There you go.
I've sort of been experimenting too with the it is D&D based, but like the Mind Flayer sort of hive brain situation. I've sort of teased that.
I think when you start to get into aberrations like Mind Flayers,
Yeah.
Beholders, and things like that,
Yeah.
you can start to play around with sort of other dimensions and
Yeah.
other universes and them sort of invading, or there's all sorts of stuff you can do.
Yeah, I really liked that sort of curveball you threw at us when we played Icewind Dale. There was the crash ship.
The Nautloid, yeah.
Yeah.
That's in the book. I did not make that, but
Still,
I think there's a niche out there for that kind of D&D game.
absolutely. And like you have to find the right players to do it and hope that they don't get hung up all the time.
Yeah. And I know that like there's a number of Dungeon Crawl Classic adventures that deal with like, instead of monsters, sort of like aliens. Get portals to other worlds, things like that.
Yeah.
And as well, their Mutant Crawl Classic line is sort of like mutants and the apocalypse and all the rest of it, and you get into these sort of things too. So, yeah,
For sure.
yeah,
for sure.
it'll be neat to see what people do with it.
Yeah.
What do we
really
have? What do we have next on the agenda?
Okay, so the next one is it's like Conan the Barbarian meets like Ator. If you've ever seen Ator the Flying Eagle, the bad guys
Yes.
in that have those sort of like helmets with the bat
Yes.
ears on them.
Do you know who this is?
No.
Okay. 1980s Dungeons and Dragons, the cartoon TV show. There is a bad guy. First of all, there's a module that he's introduced in, and then there's a bad guy introduced in the cartoon called Warduke. This is Warduke.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I recognize him now from Jason's
Very
pictures.
commonly on
Yep.
Old Men Rolling Dice, our Instagram, we do Warduke Wednesdays. It is a Wednesday today.
It is a
And
Wednesday.
we thought let's drop Warduke. If you want to know more about Warduke, Wild Beyond the Witchlight, that's at Warduke and puts him in the adventure, as well as a number of other characters from the cartoon and action figure series.
Yeah.
Because he got his own action figure. We have the action figure.
Yes.
We commonly use it on the channel.
Yeah, now that you've named him, I can definitely I see the
Yeah, but
picture
you're right,
now.
There's
in
definitely
my head.
a Conan feel.
Yeah. A very, very hyper masculine, like the thigh muscles
Yes.
alone.
He
Those are
is
thick
also-
thighs.
He is also scantily clad. He could
That
very
is
well
true.
get along with our barbarian laser sword wielding Valkyrie-like woman in
Yeah.
the first picture.
Yep.
There's some similarities there.
Yeah,
The
he's got
helmets
like
are
the
somewhat
fur
similar, too.
loincloth, and that's about it.
Yes. Yes.
The barbarian Barbie says they wish they had quads like that, and don't we all?
Yes.
Thick thighs
Uh,
saves lives, guys. Remember that.
Barbarian Barbie is like a bodybuilder.
I sort of imagine
she
that.
kind of does have a body like that. I've seen the pictures.
Oh, okay. Well, like, get out of here with your nonsense then. I'm
She's
also
totally-
digging like the face on the shields.
Yes.
It's like a bat, rat, vampire
Yeah.
situation going on, and I'm digging it. I'm here for it. I'm here for the aesthetic.
So this picture of Warduke comes from Dragon Magazine, issue 105.
Mhm.
It's done by Wayne. It's done by Wayne Reynolds. Wayne Reynolds is probably best known if you have owned any Pathfinder First Edition books. Wayne Reynolds probably did the cover. I'm almost certain he did all of them. Did the cover and most of the interior artwork. Wayne
Mhm.
Reynolds is like the Pathfinder art guy.
Yeah.
That's who they go to nonstop. Yeah.
All right. D North Cut says this bat has not two but three fangs for some reason, and
Yes,
that's because
yes.
he's extra.
It's extra. Hey, maybe there's four. Maybe we can't see the other one. It's tucked behind.
No, I'm pretty sure there's three.
There's just three.
There's just three.
Either way, it looks pretty badass. It looks pretty badass.
It is pretty cool, yeah.
And clearly, chainmail down one arm and a shoulder plate is enough to protect you.
Absolutely. And you know, you got your nip nops covered and
Nip
your
knobs.
groin area covered and your butt covered. Therefore, you are protected from everything.
If you are a barbarian, you actually have a stat for your constitution to add to your armor class.
Yeah, unarmored defense.
Unarmored defense. So, like, this is what this is clearly what's happening here, right?
Yeah, I'm
I
forever
know
going.
Duke is a barbarian, but yeah,
I'm gonna forever play a barbarian next time that's just naked all the time.
I'm in.
No close.
I'm down. I'm down.
No Fs.
There's worse things that could happen in a campaign. There are
True,
worse things that
true.
could happen in a campaign. Exactly.
All right.
Okay, well, let's bother one of our DMs. How are we doing for time? Did we start?
We got 15.
Oh,
so
we're right on target.
Right on target.
Holy cow.
So let's bother Drew here.
Let's bother Drew. Hi, Drew. We're here to bother you.
Hi, Drew.
Oh, me.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I didn't know it was unmuted.
We just unmuted you.
Just
we
unmuted.
unmuted you.
Okay, because I had music playing.
You passed. No, that's fine. You passed the scare test.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't, sometimes we unmute people and they jump 3 feet off the chair.
It's quite hilarious.
That's it. I'm a
You
large
didn't know
man. It takes a lot to get me to jump.
So, is there a picture that sort of got the creative juices flowing? Is there an image that you're like, this is where it's all going to start from?
Number one.
Number one,
Mm.
Well,
Party on the Bridge.
I lied. It was
Okay.
I think it was the old decrepit spaceship that really launched it for me. That was like, that's where I'm going. I'm doing Mech and Zeta. How do I make the rest of these images work at Mech and Zeta?
Launched today, like a
Oh, yeah.
spaceship.
What?
Wait
Wait a minute. I am not familiar with. Is it Mechan Zeta?
Mekton Zeta, Mekton. It's a skill-based role-playing game, so it's not like, you know, your character has, you know, this constitution, this saving, so like a lot of your dice rolls are based on like your gunnery skill, and like you level up your skills as opposed to like your stats every game.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's an old classic. It's like an open rule system almost, where it's based in old like Robotech Gundam anime style.
I was gonna
Japanese
say
anime.
this looks very Gundam to me.
Oh, it's super Gundam inspired, like Robotech heavy, like stuff like that. And like I said, it's basically a set of rules, and they have a campaign setting, but the main rulebook is just, hey, here's some rules, do what you want with it. And to make
Excellent.
a mecha in it is a little bit of homework, but it's the coolest system ever. It's basically like building like a mech from Mech Warrior.
Yeah.
From the nuts and bolts, you can literally add like a stereo system. You can do like a reflex bodysuit. You can do a standard cockpit. It's insane. It's so
I
much
want
fun.
spinner wheels.
You can do it.
Excellent.
Did
I'm
you
here
play
for it.
Robotech?
No, I was a big fan. No one ever wanted to play.
I feel like you and I need to be brothers or something.
Okay.
you are dropping like there was some good nostalgia in everything you just said there. I'm like, I feel like you and I, like you mentioned Mech Warrior, like I feel like you and I, we could be kindred spirits or something.
Well, I don't know
think.
if you know, but BattleTech released a Clans Kickstarter a couple years ago.
We'll go
And
grab it
Jake
off my
Falcon.
bookshelf right now. I will pull
And
it
Jay
off.
Falcon.
Ghost Bear. Ghost Bear. Ghost Bear. Yes. See?
Why do you
My
have to live
God.
across the border?
My God.
The bromance is
incredible.
real. You've seen it here
Hardcore.
first, people.
Pycore, all them. Come on, Pytor from the animated series. That whole Jade Falcon scene, I was like, that's my jam. The first game I ever DM'd was, I think it was 2nd edition MechWare, where you had the, what you call it, either a Mad Dog or a Timberwolf being blown apart from
Always a
inside
mad
the
dog
cockpit.
for me. Yeah, I've always called that a mad dog. I've always
Timberwolf,
called it.
come on.
Not a mad cat. Sorry, mad cat.
No, not the Mad Cat.
Who are we talking about then? Oh,
Oh no, Vulture
No,
or Mad Dog. Sorry.
Vulture. Yep.
Yeah.
Double
Sorry.
LRM-20s in the shoulders. I think.
Looks like you have another friend in chat. Dice Station Zebra says they played Robotech in the 80s, lost all their books years
Yes.
ago, but are recollecting them.
Okay, I have my Robotech role playing. I have the book. Dice Station Zebra has the book. Drew wanted to play. I mean, I think we're starting something here. I think
There's going to be a thing. Also, my friend is actually watching, and she texted me. She goes, apparently I was dancing around the whole time listening to music while writing, and she says, "Do you know that we can see you?"
Again, I did remind you of that. You had fair warning. We could see you pick your nose.
Oh, I thought that was just you guys.
I've got one more question for you, quick, before we jump to the next person.
Yeah.
So in your regular homebrew campaigns, D&D games at home, do you mix some science fiction in, or is it strictly fantasy?
No, I would say it's pretty strictly fantasy and dark fantasy too. Like it's very, very much a dark setting. So
Dark and gritty.
Oh yeah. You know what? I have introduced creatures that were inspired by like the xenomorphs from Aliens and stuff like that kind of stuff. So maybe a little bit of sci-fi, but nothing like a spaceship or anything.
Yeah, like they wouldn't find a crashed spaceship or something like that.
No.
Okay, fair enough. That's totally different. Okay.
They just haven't found it yet.
Yes, exactly. It could be out there. Let's put Drew back. Let's put Drew back in the cone.
Okay.
And we'll move on to our next DM. I'm not kidding you. I think Drew and I are connected by the soul.
The amount of like virtual love that just happened was kind of sickening. Hi, Cade.
Hey.
I saw that
You
jump.
only scared me a little.
I saw it. How's it going?
How's it going?
Not bad.
You said that at the same time.
I know.
I'm also cosmically connected to you somehow. I don't understand.
We already knew this. We knew this like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, it's going good. I've got my outline more or less finished, and then I'm just writing my like preamble. And then gonna
Is
get
there a
into...
picture that sort of got it all started for you that you're like, I'm gonna start there? That makes I got an idea.
Yeah, kind of two. So the first one that really jumped out at me was the picture of like the spaceship that was crashed.
Yes.
And something about it gave me, I don't know if you've played the board game Scythe, but something about the art style with that kind of jived with me and kind of got me into this like sci-fi meets like realism kind of thing. And then the first picture with all the frogs coming up over the platform to attack the adventurers kind of reminded me of a scene in the first season of The Mandalorian where there's like the little like ice spiders attacking. Yeah, so that kind of gave me an idea for a cool encounter where, you know, basically just like mobs attacking them that they have to deal with while also dealing with some big baddie. And I think that's kind of what I'm going to do.
Did you ever play
that.
4th edition?
Very briefly. I started with 4th, and I played like 2 sessions before my game fell apart.
So I love that scene in The Mandalorian with all the spiders. There's lots of movies that have that sort of overwhelming numbers. They're coming from a river, just blast, 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 blast. No DM wants to crack all those hit points. So in 4th edition, they came up with this sort of mook system where like you would just give them 1 hit point.
Yeah, I actually have that note written down. It's just 1 hit point each, right?
Yeah, but because it makes it feel real exciting because the PCs are blasting and shooting and swinging their sword and cleaving, but it's still like you're able to track it as a DM because you're just checking off, as opposed to like this one has 2 hit points.
Yeah, exactly.
This one has No, I like that. Yeah. Well, that's great. Is there one that like is causing you a problem?
I don't think so. The like frog totem thing.
Yes.
I have a plan for it. I'm not totally happy with it. It feels a little cheesy.
We like cheese.
Yeah.
Cheese is delicious, and anybody who says otherwise is lactose intolerant.
I'm not lactose intolerant, and I hate cheese.
Get out of my life, Cade.
Cheese.
Okay, you know what? I'm having this debate with my classmates at school. Grilled cheese, is it a snack or a meal?
Both.
Ooh, depends how much of it you eat.
You can't sit on the fence.
You can, because if you make 1, it's a snack. If you make like 3, it's a meal.
Also, though,
you put
are we
bacon
talking
on
just grilled cheese, or are you putting meat in it? Yeah, like, are you putting ham in your grilled cheese? I think the bigger debate...
Bacon, maybe, but ham?
The bigger debate is, do you have grilled cheese with ketchup?
Of course.
You can absolutely put ham in. That's called a Monte Cristo.
Yeah. That's when it's fancy. You put it in the panini press and you pretend that you're like sophisticated. It's like you haven't been in college, man.
Cheese is a meal when you add soup.
I agree.
Ooh. Yeah, all right.
singular grilled cheese is not a meal then?
No.
Because I say no. I say bullshit. I think it is. I think it is.
I think
Is
it
a
depends.
sandwich
If you're a
meal?
sad,
Is a
pathetic
sandwich
little
a meal?
man, yes.
Is a submarine a meal? Yes.
But a
Is sandwich
submarine
meal?
has like
Yes.
meat and stuff on it, or like
It doesn't
veggies.
matter the
Imagine
contents. Don't hate on. Don't
I'm not
hate
hating on the just
vegetarians.
cheese. No,
A
no, we're
grilled
not having
cheese
this discussion.
submarine just sounds awful. Like that sounds like the
Actually,
biggest
sounds pretty
waste of bread.
amazing. It sounds pretty amazing. If you have really good bread, okay, the way you scale up a grilled cheese is you use more and better cheese.
Different
There's
types
no
of
such thing.
cheese,
That's right,
such
and
thing.
more like thicker and better
like
bread.
brioche or like
I mean,
a
I'll give you the
focaccia.
bread.
Yeah.
Cheese is just milk that's gone bad enough that it's solid now. It
But
gets
if you're
weird and gross.
talking like Wonder Bread and a slice of like Kraft single,
Well, Wonder Bread's not bread. Wonder Bread is styrofoam
Like, that
put
is a
into a
snack.
fancy package.
that is
like,
a snack.
That's styrofoam with marketing.
But if
Like,
you're talking like bougie
Wonder
bread and like 3 different kinds of
slices,
cheese,
that is a meal.
no. You're
Whether
wrong.
you eat 1 or 3.
You're
even in college, I was never that desperate. Like,
Okay, we better get to the captain. We will come back to this.
We'll
I'm
circle
sure we
back on
will.
the sandwich discussion.
We will
this
come
could
back
be
to
a
this.
whole nother podcast.
I will tell you this. That I on my Instagram did a reel today about the grilled cheese because at Tim Hortons in Canada
Yeah.
it says meals, and under meals it says grilled cheese.
Because you get
Tim
a side
Hortons-
and a drink with it.
and
Tim Hortons also.
answered my reel. It said they said they were happy they could weigh in on this scientific debate.
I worked at Tim Hortons for 6 years of my life. 6 years I'll never
Oh.
get back.
Oh,
So I
I'm
feel like
32 right
I feel like I'm like justified in saying this. It also puts dirty bean water under coffee. Doesn't mean it's actually coffee. It's awful stuff.
From a guy on a podcast called Cantrips and Coffee, I'm
Yeah.
gonna let you have that.
Yeah. Love yourself a little bit more, man.
But I am gonna banish you into the cone of silence.
Get out!
Fair enough.
Oh my god, we are
Okay, Captain.
squirrels
Hey,
with the
how are you?
shinies today.
Captain,
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
I'm actually doing really well. I'm
I'm feeling a certain kind of love for our guests, but I'm also now feeling a certain kind of anger. But I'll get over it. I'll get over it.
Why are you feeling angry? You shouldn't feel
Do
angry.
you think a grilled cheese is a meal?
I think a grilled cheese is nature's perfect food because it can be both. Because there
See?
are days. See, there are days where you have a grilled cheese sandwich, and that's a great little snack. But you
Okay.
throw it with a soup, or you get 2 of them together, and now you have a lunch.
Jeremy, you're just wrong.
Just
you
one
throw
can
a
be a
spoon-
meal.
You're just
And I'm
wrong.
a big guy. I'm a really big guy. I eat a
I'm
lot.
a big guy. I'm a big guy too, but there are just days where you just can't eat. Like when you're in the car and you gotta go.
We need to get on task here. We need
Let's
to
get on task. Okay.
Okay.
So I've been
Was there a
messing around with.
picture? Was there a
I-
picture that sort of got your gaming juices flowing?
Yeah, it was
it
the
a
first
snack or a
one.
meal?
It was the first one, and it was definitely a meal. At first, I thought it was a snack, but then when I really looked at it, it became a meal.
And which picture was that?
That was the actual picture of what we're all thinking was a spaceship. But when you take
My
a good look
God.
at it, it's not a spaceship. It's
What
an
is it?
actual. It's buildings that have fallen over in a marsh. And when I saw that, the whole thing just came together for me.
Yeah,
Really?
okay, I'm seeing it now. Yep.
Yeah, because if you actually look at it, that's what it is. Like we're all in the sci-fi one. What's that? But that's what I looked at it.
You're
and
telling me that's not a spaceship?
if you take a good look at it, it's actually buildings. You can actually
Okay.
see down at the bottom. It looks like an old tower. Same with that. It looks like part of a tower, and it looks like
Okay.
an old building. That's how I interpreted it.
Look,
After
you're
I had
the
a good look at
captain.
it.
I am at best a private first class.
oh-
So
Oh no! Oh no!
so-
Oh no!
so if you
You'll
say
al-
it's
you'll
shit-
always be
if
my
you say
general.
it's a building,
I
if you say
flunked
it's a
out on the
building-
first day of boot camp.
Yeah. So
You did?
and
Did you go to boot camp?
No.
Oh my!
oh,
goodness.
boot camp was fine.
The closest thing I ever did was Cubs and Scouts.
That's kind of like a kickoff for a lot of people. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Only got guns as well as a
A
pocket
lot
knife.
of friends go. We had an air cadet. What would you call that? A group of air cadets? A troop? I don't know.
Probably a squadron.
Oh yeah, you're probably right.
We
So
got a
had
minute and a
squadron
half,
of air
buddies, to
cadets in
wrap
my
it up.
town. What?
We got a minute and a
We're-
half.
Okay, so
Before the end of the prep?
for the
Holy shit! Oh, well,
oh, oh,
okay. So the ship. Sorry, the buildings was where you started.
Yeah, the buildings where I started. It became very clear there was a marsh, and it was been overeating these buildings. And I guess some of my past experience being in these type of areas up north, where things are being retaken, I envisioned that there was a village in here. Because if I take a look down at the bottom right-hand corner of it,
Yeah.
what I thought looked like a tower looked like it'd also be a little house, like someone's
there you
trying
go.
to build something. So I envisioned a bunch of villagers, like the swamp people, like I'm sure we've all seen on the History Channel with those people.
Yeah.
I've envisioned those guys. What would they be like in this time period? So I envisioned an old city its name has been lost to time. No one knows what it is anymore. It's being eaten by the marsh, and I called it the Fading Marsh. And this is the village of Marston. That's the best name I could come up with. A short time. I'll probably change it.
You know what?
All right,
We're
well-
gonna cut you off there.
That's all right.
We're gonna let you prep because we have 2 more pictures to show everybody, and then we're
Oh.
gonna come back to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Cheers. See you then.
Go.
Oh
Okay.
my god. Oh my god. We got 20 seconds.
Pictures.
We'll just give him
But
extra
first-
time. It's fine.
Throw the 4th picture up. Do it. Let's be epic. One more okay.
All right.
Uh,
So we have
yeah.
this sort of
We don't have time to
totem or
explain.
like a potion vial.
It is called Frog Potion by Victor Petrushin. We don't know where it's from. We just liked it. I don't think it has to be a potion though. Like that could be. I kind of when I was doing
Frog
because I was
pee.
prep myself, right?
Yeah.
I always do a prep
know you
with
do.
the stuff, and I'm like, maybe that's like not a potion, but it's actually like fuel from the engines of that ship,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe it has some sort of other property that
Ooh.
people use it for. And
It does.
you know,
Like, if you zoom in on the bottom, it kind of looks
Yeah.
like there's a tentacle up in there.
oh boy.
I'm not saying that because we've had a lot of tentacle business going on in our Monday
Yes.
night game with your whip.
Yes.
But just
Yeah.
the way it looks like there's a
Northcut, that is an awesome idea. To open it, you have to find a prince to kiss it.
Actually, that leads us perfectly to our last picture,
Okay, let's do the last picture.
which is a French kiss.
Is it?
Sure.
Ooh la la. Ooh la la. This is amazing. This is actually the picture that started it all for Jason and I.
Oh,
When
God.
we started looking at artwork, we found this. This is by an artist by the name of where is it?
I don't know. SBP.
Stefan Poag. Stefan Poag. We have fallen in love with Stefan Poag. This is only the first of many. This could be our new go-to guy for black and white art. We
Yeah.
love this. I don't even know where it's from or what it's for.
I don't care. Like, I think it's fantastic.
Northcut had it called. Northcut had it called before I even got it out. Stefan Poag, absolutely. We love Stefan Poag stuff. I will be interested to see how the RDMs use this.
It's
Okay.
it's a lot to take in, that's for sure.
We normally talk a lot more about these, but unfortunately, I had diarrhea of the mouth with our guests, and
Look,
yeah, let's
just
bring
let
them
the
back.
sandwich snack thing go, okay? Just let it
Okay,
go.
let's bring them back. Let's bring them back. I promise. I promise not to get on my podium about grilled cheese anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. We're gonna not discuss.
Yeah, you're right, Northcat. I think he does do a ton of DCC stuff, and we love his work too. Jason and I have just kind of you put the wrong picture.
Oh, I
somehow.
did. I didn't save it right. Shoot. One
That's
moment.
okay.
There we go.
That's okay. We just found his stuff. We're just talking about the toad licking picture, guys.
Yep.
So, Stefan Poag is the artist, and Chat is just bringing us up to speed on this guy. He's a relatively new artist that Jason and I have found for sort of old school art. Yeah. Okay. So have we got some one shots together?
Yeah,
We do.
more
Oh
or less.
yeah.
I mean, Drew looks very confident. The rest of you, I'm not so sure.
I got my sparkly vomit out.
Are they muted?
Nobody's muted. Nobody's muted.
That's
Captain, are
just-
you with us?
I most definitely am, sir.
Okay. Aphi has asked me to not talk anymore about grilled cheese.
She muted?
No,
No,
I'm here.
but we're going to have a discussion at some point. Just not tonight, apparently.
Old men grilling
I
cheese.
can't hear her.
All right, so I've got a D12 here, which needs more love in everybody's campaigns. Take note.
What type of? Yeah,
It's our
D12s
sparkly vomit.
D12s are like the redheaded stepchildren
It's true.
of Dungeons and Dragons, and they need more love.
Yeah.
They do.
No
So
offense to the gingers.
the sparkly vomit dice is in lieu of Jason being camera shy because he has sparkly vomit.
Everybody else
and
hear
they
her
are his
because I
favorite.
can't hear her.
Can you not hear her?
everyone? No, I can hear everyone but her. I see her talking, and I'm like,
Hello?
what's happening? Did she mute her feed to me?
Can you guys what about Captain? Can you hear her?
I can hear everyone.
Okay.
It's fine. He just hates me.
Drew, I'll sign for you.
Okay.
All right.
Jeremy knows one sign, so there it is.
She's not muted on my end, so I don't know.
That's
So
weird. All right. Well, Gerald
That's
just have
actually not
to.
the first time this has happened.
I think so.
Not this particular way. We've had this happen with other. Anyways,
All right.
you can hear me though, right, Drew?
I can hear you. I can hear Kat. I haven't
don't-
heard Kay talk yet, but
I'm not going to be. This may come across offensive, but really, that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
I don't need to hear it for that face.
That picture I sent you earlier.
Yeah.
Double.
You want me you know what? I asked Aphi to send me a selfie earlier with certain specifications for the selfie, which doesn't maybe sound appropriate on here right now, but yeah, she sent it, and watch for the reel. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. Yeah, it'll be great. Anyways,
Anywho.
can we get on with the show, please?
Yeah.
Aphi?
Well, I'm sorry. You're the one that's been like nonsense all freaking night.
I know.
So D12, 1 to 4 is Drew, 5 to 8
Okay.
is Cade, and 9 to
Okay.
12 is Captain.
Okay.
Awesome.
Does the math work out right on that?
It fell off the table.
Four
So
dice
we
don't
got
count.
6, which starts with
I can't
Cade.
hear Kate either.
He goes first. Okay, I have a question though before Kate starts.
Oh,
DMs, dice falls off the table. Is that dice dead or is it live?
dead. Floor dice don't count.
As a player, it's dead.
So if it's 20, you tell the player to get stuffed, right?
Yeah, sucks to suck.
It's dead.
Roll better.
Even as a player, you know it's dead. It's on the ground. It's dead. You already accept that.
Okay. Chat,
If
tell
I'm
us,
the DM, it depends how it rolls.
tell us if dice that fall on the floor are dead or not.
Unless you're playing with children, then you let them have whatever they want because you know they're doing that to get the 20.
It's a life lesson.
Yeah.
I have to do that with Aphi sometimes.
We don't even play with real dice.
I don't know what's going on. I can't hear Cade or Aphi at all.
You can't hear Kate either?
No.
Oh, now it feels
Okay,
targeted.
is it something with the cone of silence bringing me back? Maybe I'm still muted, or some people muted to me.
Hold on, let's check. I don't see anything there.
How about now?
Test.
So strange.
Can you hear them now?
That's weird.
Can
Do you
hear me
wanna-
now?
You want to? It'll screw up our cameras, but we'll deal with it. Do you want to
Well,
quickly
we'll just go on a
drop-
quick be right
drop-
back.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick pause because we can drop.
Cookie.
DM Cade with his one shot, ready to wow us. Take me the lens of fantasy and adventure.
All right. So I started off with my preamble. So this is what I would tell my players as we're getting started. So you are part of the Ravengers, a spacefaring group of mercenaries hired by Glendar Uzbek, Senator of the Galactic Empire. You have been tasked with scoping out the neighboring system of Sigma Tar for the rare and valuable resource of Bartonium. As you enter the system and come out of hyperdrive, an alarm klaxon begins to wail, and the ship begins to shake violently. The captain's voice comes over the intercom, but you can't make it out over the sounds of rending metal and precious oxygen escaping to the vacuum of space. The last thing you see before losing consciousness is a large green planet approaching far too quickly. When you wake up, you feel a breeze over your face and water around your body. As you open your eyes, you see you have crashed into a swampy lake and your ship is in tatters. From there, players would be able to investigate, and they would find out that the majority of the crew and the captain died in the crash. However, some of the engineers have survived and believe that they can repair the ship, but you will need to find a new power source. From there, players would be able to explore the land, and they would be introduced to the cult of the Marble Toad. You'd find out that this cult is in the middle of what essentially amounts to a civil war with the Berserker Bat clan from neighboring nearby. You would also find out that this cult has a totem that seems to have great power, and you feel like you may be able to use this to then power your ship to get off of this planet. The cult, if you introduce yourselves to them, will try to recruit you, at which point you need to take part in a ceremony where you consume a live toad. If you do so, you will need to make 3 Constitution saving throws, resulting in poison, paralyzation, and or blindness, depending on which you fail or succeed. If you fail those, the cult sees you as weak and will then pursue with the attack. If you refuse, they'll see this as an insult and then will attack you anyways. When they attack, the cult leader decides to bite into the toad himself, and he transforms into a monstrous being, which then leads into an encounter. With this encounter, you will be swarmed by 1 HP giant toads, and the leader, for whom I used the stat block of Bavlorna Blightstraw, who's one of the hags in D&D 5e, that would be able to summon more toads and stuff and attack. Assuming that they get out of that encounter with their lives, they would be able to attempt to steal the totem and make their way back to their ship, at which point they would be ambushed along the way by some of the berserkers of the Bat Clan. For this, I would probably just make some low-level characters, probably using just like base level knight characters, and then probably have one leader that used an eldritch knight subclass, because I don't think that subclass gets nearly enough love, because it's a lot of fun. Assuming that they are able to survive all of that, they will be able to take their totem, implant it back into their ship, and fly off into safety.
That's awesome. First of all, Berserker Bat Clan, totally stealing that.
Love it.
Go for it.
Like, everything about it was fantastic.
Also, I don't think we've had a one shot on the show yet that begins in space.
No.
On a ship.
You rather get 2 in the same night.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm down. That was awesome, Cade.
Thank you.
That was fabulous.
Awesome. I'm on board. Run it. Make and get Ruin to be a player. You know, I can scrounge up some guys. We could.
Or otherwise,
do need some summer content. We can.
You're a guy.
Oh, I'm
speaking guy generically. Generically.
Uh-huh.
You're an old man.
Yeah. I am an old man.
By definition, you are an old man who rolls dice.
I am.
So, and maybe grills cheese.
There is some grilled.
I'm not allowed to talk about it. I'm banned from the grilled cheese talk.
It's nature's perfect food.
It's true.
It is. It's a meal.
All right, back to the D12. 1 to 6
to the D12
is Drew. 7 to 12 is Alan. We got a 3.
We got a 3. So who's that? Drew?
That's Drew.
I know
Go
you're
ahead,
probably hungry and you want a grilled cheese, but can you pay attention for
I told
5
you these
seconds?
dice things confuse me.
I literally said
I'm glad
1
I
to
listened.
6. What's in between 1 and 6?
What did you roll?
A 3.
Okay, I trust you.
I mean,
That picture I sent you earlier, quadruple it.
Shut up. Let's let Drew guide us on another journey, which apparently is going to start in space.
In space.
It sure is. As long as you guys can hear me, we're good.
We can hear you. Go, Drew.
Okay. Sorry, I'm nervous now from our little Discord mishap. So this starts in space. You're basically part of a military force, and something's gonna be mech and Zeta. Or just for visual aid, imagine like the Colonial Marines from StarCraft, not Alien.
Okay.
Like that big clunky armor. You know, you have your ghosts that are like, you know, lithe and more restrictive clothing, if you will. So basically, the way the player group is going to start is I'm going to give them a whole intro. Basically, you're going to be flying through the galaxy. You know, they're in search of something called the Swarm, which for, again, ease of visualization is kind of like the Tyranid or the Zerg. So, like, you know, bug-like aliens. And what happens is they're flying by this planet, they get a distress signal. It's an old code, but it checks out. So it does check out, and they see that someone's in distress. So the way that it's going to start is basically they're going to drop pod's going to head to the planet. They're going to get out about 3 clicks away from where the beacon is. That's going to put them in the middle of a swamp. And now in their armor and everything and all their heavy weapon loadout, they're going to be going, and it's actually going to wake a hybrid amphibious land swarmling, which is going to be a bunch of those aliens, and they're going to basically have to fight their way through that swamp area. Once they get through there, they're eventually going to get to an old broken down spaceship that's kind of been converted into a home. When they get inside and investigate, they'll be able to learn and discover that first they're going to find a journal. In the journal, they're going to find a guy who's been documenting his time there, and he's obviously been there for years. And it's going to start off where he has a whole family, and then eventually the Swarm takes his family. He doesn't know where they've been taken. He just assumes they're all dead. And then in his loneliness, after he's been alone for a year, he knows that the Swarm blood is bad. Like, it's poisonous to humans.
I seriously
So he
thought you were going to say he made out with a toad.
It's coming. Wait.
Okay.
It happens to the best of us.
He was really lonely, so
Spoilers.
Toads.
Spoilers. So what he does, he decides to go out and he finds a dead swarmling that's bleeding out, and he licks it to try and like drink the blood from it to end his. Yeah, there you go. I told you it was coming. His eternal loneliness. Like, he's just so alone and so in so much despair that he tries to do that. Or he finds that by licking it, actually starts to, over time, it starts to transform him rather than kill him. What he does is he starts harvesting it and keeps it in a jar that's actually made out of the body of a swarmling that is kind of petrified. That's the picture of him holding it. And they're going to find various pictures, hand-drawn schematics, where they're going to find that look like that Dark Warrior, where some of them are more humanoid, some are more robotic. And then as they really start to discover what's going on, they're going to hear a loud groan of metal gears and mechanisms going, and what's going to happen is rising from the waste behind the crashed spaceship is going to be a large mecha that actually is a metallic version of that artwork. Like, he's been trying to design something, he finally built it. However, what's in the center of it is the man. However, he's half man, half swarm, and he's actually fused to the mecha through various like veins and arteries and muscle sinew that have grown out of him like the Swarm and have taken over the mecha. They're going to fight that, and that's going to be a major combat. After they destroy him, they realize that there's nothing that they can do on this planet for him, so they're going to have to pull back and find a good place to be picked up by the drop pod. And the way that it's going to... Sorry, drop ship. I'm a Warhammer player, sorry. So when they get there, they're going to find a good place to hold up as the Swarm starts to actually emerge all the craters and crevices in the planet. Going to hold and basically what's going to happen then is the player group is going to have to hold through a meat grinder, where it's just going to be endless swarm coming at them, and they're just going to have to hold up and shoot everything out. And what I'm famous for doing is making people real sad at the end of one shots. So what happens is they're eventually going to get a communication where a guy's going to come up, he's going to go, "Sorry guys, LZ's too hot. Planet's in a swarm hive. Planet cleanse in 30 seconds. Godspeed and thank you for your service." And they're just going to abandon them on the middle of the planet, and that's how the player group ends the session.
Love it. You're gonna TPK.
It's not even a real
TPK
TPK. It's like a
pony.
fade to black
I know
TPK.
I like you, Drew, but
But it's gonna be they can get
You
through
know,
the whole
you
thing.
can just see it, man. TPK, TPK.
They can get through the whole thing successfully. It's just at the very end. And I don't even describe it. I just let them know in 30 seconds this whole planet's going to be exterminated. And that's what the player group has to live with as they get up and walk away. But it's not even a TPK, it's Nikes that's going to happen.
Can I just say that this is like the wildest prep or die we've had, as far as like the space technology It's gone beyond my wildest dreams when those pictures got picked.
Yeah. Like, I was hoping for space
and
vibes, but this is fantastic.
built-in TPK. A built-in TPK. I know you said it's not a TPK, but it is a TPK. And
Look,
you know,
success can be measured in a lot of ways.
I really
Do sci-fi and a TPK. This is like Christmas for you, isn't it?
it is. It is. I've always wanted to listen to a podcast or a live play where everybody's like gets invested and then there's a TPK. I just think that would be amazing. It never happens in live plays.
You're a mean man.
They're like, no, we're taking this story to the end. It's like, no,
So if
just
I can
wipe
tell
it.
you, once I saw that image of the abandoned ship and I saw the creatures,
Yes.
I'm not even joking. What I just said to you, I had within 30 seconds seeing those images. I was like, I got it, and I know exactly how this is gonna end, and I was so stoked.
Got it, and everybody's gonna die. I have days like that. I'm not kidding.
Oh,
It's
me
just
too.
like, I have an adventure where everyone dies. Oh, amazing!
Excellent,
It's
Cade.
amazing.
Great quote.
Jeremy's ASMR.
Yep.
Just-
I've always wanted to
Heartbreak.
listen to Hearts Breaking in real time. Jeremy,
Yeah.
2022.
True story. True story.
Put it
Well,
on your next
Captain, I
shirt.
don't think we have to roll. I
Wait.
think
Don't we
you're
have to
just
roll?
off.
Okay.
Max damage!
So just before you do this, not to add any pressure or anything, but you have never DM'd an episode in your life?
I think
Always
I
a player?
Always a player. I think I DM'd once, and when I say once, I mean once when I was like 14, 15.
Okay.
And I was like for my little brother and like a couple of his friends, and I tried to do it like once, and I hated it. I just couldn't do it. I didn't know the mechanics. It was caves
You
of
need-
chaos with my
Do you need a
basic
pep
set.
talk?
No, I think I could do it. I've been
It's good because we don't do those here.
I've been watching you do your craft, to watch you guys all do your thing. So
Okay, okay.
I think I can shine.
The
Rule,
stage is yours.
rule of thumb, fake it till
Yeah.
you make it.
That is how I did my entire career. How do you think I went from trooper to captain?
Exactly. So you know exactly what you're doing. You just fake it.
Well, I went a different route. I did not see I had first saw the spaceship. But
Unacceptable,
then I
get
saw
out.
what it really was. So welcome to the Fading Marsh. Your party has been tasked by a group of villagers. I want you all to think Magnificent Seven. You've been brought to the village of Marston, built on the remains of an old major city its name has been lost in times and lore, and now it finds itself slowly being eaten by the Fading Marsh. The village buildings, if you can call them that, are built in the shadow of the ruins of this former city. The villagers make a humble living by fishing the swamps and collecting rare plants to make medicines. Swamps, by their very nature, are filled with mass dangers, and in this area, none is more feared than the Mushu Brood. The Mushu Brood are large carnivorous type of frog-like creatures, but the village has a holy relic. They call it the Brood Drowser. It keeps them at bay. However, it's been stolen. Plot hook. The party has been hired to find it. Enter the Magnificent Seven theme song. Rumors, clues, and even an old fisherman, if the party starts asking around, will eventually lead them to an old boardwalk that's deep in the swamp. It's been noticed that although it's an old ruin, it seems to be kind of kept in some form of repair. This is where they will have their very first encounter with the Brood. This will be along the port where they're leaving the swamp and entering the areas where there's going to find, and this is through the clues, of an old cult in the area. At this location, they will have their first encounter, and then they will move on.
Are we fighting frogs at this location?
This is where they'll fight the frogs, the Mushu Brood. These are these frogs that on the bridge. That'll be their first major encounter with the Brood. As they work their way to the swamp and towards the area that they've kind of surmised through clues and points and rumors to where the cult is. Once they enter the grounds, they'll have their first major boss fight. That'll be with the Brood Herder. He will be there. He'll be riding There'll be the gentleman with the sword and the shield. He'll be riding
Yep.
a dire. He'll be riding a dire brood. It'll basically be a dire bullfrog. He'll be accompanied by no less than 5 to 10 brood. That'll be their first major fight. As they make their way into the temple, they will find that there's an actual cult. The cult's having one of their ceremonies right now. The plan is to sacrifice the brood drowser to the Mushu Brood. If they have a villager with them, or if they've already met him, they'll quickly realize that the shaman is the local alderman of the village. His reason for being there, he's discovered a treasure deep inside the city. Plot hook, next adventure. With him, he'll have no less than 5 to 10 cultists with him. They'll either be some seedy members of the village that he's converted, or more importantly, swamp bandits that he's enticed to join his cult. With him as well will be no less than 1 to 5 of the Mushu Brood frogs with him as well. This will be a major fight. Make sure that it's balanced for the party. If it appears that the shaman's going to be captured, he will pull a baby brood from his pocket and he'll lick it. The poison from the frog will make him go berserk. He'll have enhanced strength and enhanced constitution for 5 rounds, but the poison will kill him. This is his way of not dying. Oh, sorry, not being captured. Sorry. At the end, on his person, not only will they find the brood drowser, they'll also find a map that leads through the ancient city to where a treasure supposedly is. Plot hook, next adventure. And that's my 1-page adventure.
Nice. I don't think it was bad for your first time.
Yeah.
Yay
me.
I enjoyed it. It was good.
King of frog to get superpowers.
I
I
love
know
the
what
sort
else
of
to
like
say.
arsenic tooth thing he had going with the poison that would kill him.
I'm like, what would possess the guy to do that? I know I'm gonna get captured.
I love it. I think it's great.
Lick the toad.
Yeah. Lick the toad, go nuts, take somebody with me.
I have 2 comments.
Yeah.
First of all, Brood Herder sounds like an awesome craft German beer that I would definitely drink.
It was the
Yes.
best thing to come up with. I'm trying to think, what is he, a herder? I'm trying to find things like I was going through like thesaurus. It's like, I don't have that much time, so I'll just throw this in. I'll find a better name.
Yeah.
Dude,
Oh, that's
that's
great.
a brood herder.
You're right? Like,
Yeah.
I think you're right.
yeah.
I love
And then
it.
second of all, for someone who's never DM'd, you picked up on the name lost to time cop-out. It's a great trick. I use it all the time. I can't come up with anything. It was lost to time. No one knows.
Well, I
No.
didn't. I go, what am I gonna call this thing? Oh, gee, all right,
no,
lost in
it's great.
time. Call
When
it a
in
day.
doubt,
We'll-
lost
yeah.
to time,
This
or
is
Kyle.
inconsequential. It's plot armor. Just call
Yeah.
it something and carry on.
It
Get him
works
to the
for
temple.
a reason. Like,
Get him to the temple.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That
That
was
was
awesome. You did
great.
very good for your first time. I like
thank you.
I like that for your first time. You've already built in sequels.
Yes. That's how the addiction
no one ever
starts,
wants to just
though.
play one game of D&D because you have
No.
so much fun that one night. You're going like, oh, we got to do this more. Unless, of course, we get TPK'd the way you want to. But
Exactly. Though that's why. That's how you make it. You make a one shot by just ending it with a TVK, and what he has to worry about. I'm gonna tell you something. Running a lot of one shots. Very few one shots remain literally one shot, like one night event.
That's why I put
it's
the
like,
plot
hey, let's
hooks
play a
in.
one shot, and then it turns into like a 2 or 3 session.
well, look at
Or
our
game.
one shot that wound up to be 5 games.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, 5
I just,
sessions.
over the weekend, I just ran at Long Island Tabletop Expo. Which is a
Oh, yeah.
con, and the way I wound up doing it was, I was running 3 sessions and ran into 3 completely different stories. I ran session 1 as part 1, session 2 as part 2, session
Yep.
3 as part 3, all on one story. So you could either catch the whole story or you could hop in and out and just play whatever session you wanted. I feel like one shots just don't do it, man. You gotta
It's
one shot
it's
is a lot.
hard. It's hard to get everything down in one shot. And if you give an opportunity for role play and your players really sink their teeth into stuff like that, that role play can really stretch out the time. It all comes down to. Oh, hold on a sec. How do
Never
we pronounce
compensate for
that?
PC dialogue from
Frus-
Usradin.
Frus-
Skyrim.
2 evenings in a merchant shop. Oh, listen, DM trick. You ever like, crap, I wanted to prep for tonight, and you
Shopping
didn't get any
episode.
done, just introduce a shopkeep. Yeah, with lots of things to buy. Shopping and libraries.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Or you
The
just
only
have
one-shots.
players that are jerks. Last night in our game, we spent the first 45 minutes standing in the bandit camp where we killed all of the bandits, just being dicks.
Why not?
Being dicks. Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised, frankly, Aphi.
No, I know. I learned from you.
Ooh, shots fired.
Oh. We really do like each other.
We do.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Honest. So tell me something. So we always end on sort of a prepping question. So here, and Alan, you might not be able to answer this, but I'll let you speculate on how you think you would do this. So when you're prepping, do you have a place where you start usually? In other words, does it start with the villain? Does it start with a map? Does it start with an idea? Or like, where does your guys' thought process is? If you're homebrewing something, what is it that sort of is the trigger for getting everything rolling?
I'm going to be really honest with you guys. This is my first adventure I've done.
Mhm.
When I looked at that building, it was like everyone else, I thought it was a starship. Then I copied it over here to PowerPoint, blew it up, went, holy geez, that's actually a building. I'm in a swamp with a building. And that little thing looks like a house. Oh my God, this is a village. And then boom, it just kind of went. Village, frogs, boom, boom, boom. The hardest thing I had was the guy licking the villain.
So do you think if you prepped another adventure, you need to figure out like that starting point, like the village?
Because that gave me the world, right? Once I had, okay, I'm a village in a marsh.
Yep.
They're poor. Why would they be here? Then suddenly, okay, why are they here? Why is the big bad here? Well, okay, it's a broken down city. There's got to be something in the city he's found. A classic trope, right? The old abandoned mine, it isn't abandoned. The old castle, well, it isn't. There's something in there. So that's the villain. Then it was just me trying to figure out what they were. When I saw the frog idol and then the frogs, okay, now I've got my creatures in the area. I've got my stolen hook, like my MacGuffin is the idol.
Yep.
And then it was just a matter of who's the big bad? Is it the big strong guy or is it the guy licking the frog? And once I realized that the guy licking the frog could be a priest or a shaman, and the frog isn't like, because he's crazy, he's doing something, it's a last resort. Then the other guy became the lieutenant, he became the big bad, and that's how I did it.
Classic tropes are classic tropes for a reason.
Yeah,
Like,
that's all classic.
the licking the frog.
No, it's just the picturing of it. Like you have this big bad, like, hyper masculine dude, but it's the guy licking the frog that's actually in charge.
Well, because I kind of looked like, who is like, why would he be doing it? Like I'm going like, why would he be doing it? The frogs, what's the whole thing with? That was the hardest thing. I didn't know what to do with him, but then when I realized that he was the mastermind and not the comic relief, that's when I hit.
If you're in a room with a big hyper masculine guy and another guy in the corner licking a toad, who are you really more unsure about?
The guy licking the toad.
That's not wrong.
I mean, maybe he just likes drugs.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe. Maybe. Drew, how about you? If you're prepping for your home game, where does the plot line start? Does it come? What's the inspiration for the plot lines?
So, I'll answer that once. It's like a two-parter. Like, so, like, if I'm playing for a one-shot, it's actually a different one, like thinking.
Okay, so walk us through it then. What's it for a one-shot first?
One-shot, I need a point A and a point B that I can get, a group of strangers through without going too in-depth into a world, but just giving them enough to make them know where they are and enjoy, and kind of invest in the setting just a little bit, and get them through something in 3 hours.
So do you look to artwork for point A and point B, or is that something that you just sort of like comes from you from any number of sources?
I mean, honestly, you should probably saw me, embarrassingly enough, dancing while working.
Yep.
I pretty much just throw on music and I just go. Like, it could be soundtrack, it could be metal, or right now I'm obsessed with, it's a female artist named Earl. She does like modern swing. I'll just put that on and just something will strike me.
Yeah,
For my
It works.
homebrew,
for your homebrew.
I'll start. When I tell you, I have such a bond with most of these people at this point. Even we actually just had our first girl join the group, and now we just picked up a second, which is awesome. Like, there's such a bond with all of them and like how they play their characters that my prep is so minimal. Like, I just ride the story out based on how they act, because they're also invested with their characters and in the overall story from the past like 20 years or whenever they joined. That It's going to sound like a bad answer, but for my homebrew, there almost is no prep. It's just sit down at the table, continue where we left off last session, and then just feel out the room and just make it up as I go. And they'll start vibing off each other, then I'll start vibing off them, and get a good solid 3.5 hour 4 hour game.
I don't think that's a bad answer. I think that a lot of DMs, once you have an established group rolling, and I'm not trying to make that sound easy. That's a challenge in and of itself. But once you do have your group and it's rolling, and if the players are very proactive, they will fuel a lot of the plots that come up. And it's just a matter of you filling in sort of the blanks, and as you to take from your one shot, they're going to give you point A, and you just need to figure out how, what's between that and point B for their plot line. No, I think players are a great inspiration for plot.
And the crazy part about like my home campaign, like, they might technically give me a point A, but there's no point B. There's E through Z. Like, it's just any session can go anywhere. Like, I have in my head an overarching story that I'd like them to follow, but I've honestly changed like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Because it's just, for instance, this guy Kevin introduced his character, and he introduced a little side plot that he wanted to work into the story. So that changed everything I had planned so far. So for the past 3 sessions, we've been exploring that. And I mean, you can't really prep for something like that. You just got to roll with it, and that's my favorite part.
I always like when I have something prepped and the players come up with a far better twist.
Yeah.
And then I just run with their twist. Like, I let their suspicions guide the plot. In other words, like they're like, what if John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt is the vampire? And then I'm like, I never thought about that. What if they were the vampire? And then we just go with that.
Too.
Yes. You'd be surprised how many people are named that.
It explains why when he goes out, all the people shout, "There goes John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt." He's a well-known quantity.
Damn it!
A great drinking song. So when you're drinking your brood herder, you know exactly what you'd be singing.
It all comes around.
Stop saying my name.
Jade, what about you? Where does the sort of the spark tend to come from?
I don't know. I kind of struggle with that because I haven't been DMing for 25 years. I've been DMing since October. That was when I started. So for this one, I started with the encounter that I wanted to build around and the encounter mechanic that I wanted to include, and then just kind of pulled out from there. And I've done that for some of my home sessions as well. So we made a dragon fight into like a 3-part boss battle where like his mechanics changed at different points in his health and all that. And like my home game, I basically just ripped off Dante's Inferno. My players haven't figured out that they're going through the circles of hell, but that's entirely what they're doing because I'm not original.
Well, secrets out of the box now.
They're not watching this. No, they're not watching this.
Oh, you say that now.
Hold on, I'm a huge Dante's Inferno fan. I have a whole Dante's Inferno tattoo on my arm.
Nice.
Did you see the Dante's Inferno 5e Kickstarter?
No.
Oh my god. Okay, because I backed it because I'm a Dante's Inferno freak. Like, Divine Comedy is my jam. Is
it out yet, or is it still in production?
It's nearing the end of production. They just found a few more mistakes that they want to clean up before they get it in full print. It's been going on. The artwork is beautiful, and it is their whole thing. It's made in Italy, and it's a dedication to Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy. Like, it is. They're trying so hard to make it 5e Inferno, and they've done a great job from everything they've shared so far. If I get a PDF of that, I don't use PDFs. You're more than welcome to it.
Yeah, no, I'll hit you up for that for sure. And that's funny because you have a tattoo for Dante's Inferno. My whole sleeve is Edgar Allan Poe, and my next campaign is going to be running through various Edgar Allan Poe works. So
those are all good those are all good sources. I did like what you said, because I think I have done this on a number of occasions as well. You have this almost like the when you talked about the toads sort of surrounding and everything, and we talked about using them as mooks and that, you sort of get this idea for an encounter or maybe some sort of cinematic, like it's almost like a movie director, right? You have an idea for a scene, but then how do I get the characters into that scene? Because that would be so cool, and then you start to pull out from there. Yeah.
Are you looking at my PowerPoint? I don't mind in PowerPoint. That's exactly how I did it.
Is it? Is it? Well, there you go. There you go. Aphi, how about you? I rarely get to ask you these questions, so where does it start for you?
For me, it usually starts with some sort of core material. Like the campaign I'm running now is based in the Domains of Dread from the Van Richten's guide that came out earlier this last year, wherever it came out. And I've sort of just taken their suggestions on like settings and stuff and manipulated them to what I want them to be. And then it's also based on what the characters do. Like you guys running into the mist a couple weeks ago, kind of, you know, I had to put on the brakes and like twist around what I had sort of already planned ahead of. And this whole session going forward in the Sea of Sorrows is I was building a map for you guys in the mists and came across Incarnate having ships, and I'm like, is there anything in here about ships? Sea of Sorrows, perfect, we're doing it.
Yeah. The map is where I always seem to start of late. I'm sort of the same as Drew. I have DM'd for a very long time, mostly a forever DM. I know I'm not anymore. I play in Aphi's games, but there's got to be a, I don't know why. It could be a battle map. It can be a city map or maybe a world map. But the map sort of gets me gets everything turning, and then from there I go. So maps are
world. You need the world.
Maps are my hook of late, at least. Well, guys,
you're gonna love what I did.
Oh,
My home campaign, my homebrew. Actually, it's on the wall right now. It's a 48 by like 30 map that I'm hand drawing as we explore the world.
Nice.
So I update it as we go, so the players actually will look and be like, "What's this? Let's go explore there." So like that moves the story too.
Yeah.
Right, so when I say map, the whole map doesn't even have to be completed.
Right.
Like let's say I've got a world map and there's just like something up in the corner. I still like to start small, like just what's in that town, and then I'll build out as the characters need it, build it out. But yeah, maps are always sort of a source of inspiration for me and where my stories sort of begin. I've always liked the journey. Like The Hobbit is a big inspiration from when I was a kid. That journey to Lonely Mountain, that's where the magic of that story is for me, as opposed to even though Smaug is fantastic, but the journey there is certainly something that's
why I love the Shannara series. Same thing, it's all about that long journey.
Yeah. For sure. Well, guys, we have reached the end of the railway. We are at the end of the shipyard. We are done. I want to oh my gosh, and here comes 20 sides to every story.
Hi guys.
Rating with a party of 16. And we're just wrapping up. I'm so sorry. I'm so glad
you can watch the
guys
archive.
came.
If you're really into grilled cheese, there's a section just for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can join our great debate on Instagram. Grilled cheese, sandwich or snack?
Okay, let's do that just before we leave, very quickly, because we've just been hit by a raid, and I feel like we can't bail on them. 20 sides to every story. What were we doing tonight? What were we doing the Dungeons and the Dragons? Were we doing some DCC? What were we doing? And then my next question to you is grilled cheese snack or meal? I will not allow answers that say both.
That's because you're wrong. You're just wrong.
It's both.
It's both.
I don't care. To me, the grilled cheese is a meal, and I don't think you're going to change me on this.
Can I just? I got a good answer for you.
Okay, weigh in.
is going to weigh in right now. It's going to end the debate. A
Okay.
snack is something you can pick up, open up, good to go, pop in your mouth, eat it quick, hold you over till lunch. Grilled cheese you have to pop out, prepare, make, and then consume. It's a meal.
So by that
No,
rationale,
I just go to the drive-through at Tim Hortons and go grilled cheese snack,
I got
Steve,
the-
or I can go there and go grilled cheese. It's lunch.
by the
Here's the-
Depending on how I
preparation,
feel.
by the preparation methodology, then like microwave popcorn is a meal, and I think we
Yes.
can all agree that's not a meal.
To be fair, I have eaten popcorn as a meal.
I mean, I have two, but
We've
I'm not
all
proud of
done
it.
that
Okay.
Popcorn a meal.
You know, you get home from a chef job at like 1 a.m. You don't want anything heavy. Popcorn it is.
You know what? I'm gonna have to agree with you. Popcorn is not a meal.
Right. So then the preparation is not a good measurement because you do have to prepare and then consume
Microwave popcorn does not need to be prepared. You're just popping
You
it.
said
in
to
the
microwave it.
And because of
But
my
also, that's
military,
a
I'm a
Combination.
purist. I do it on the stove.
and I'm going to be really honest with you guys.
There you go.
There was a
Air
time in my
popper or
military career,
die.
every single meal we had was in between 2 pieces of bread because we didn't have any time for anything.
That's
You
it.
just
true.
go through the meal line, throw whatever was on between 2 pieces of bread, and eat it on the way out of the meal line.
Okay, so here's some questions in chat. Is grilled cheese with other things included, like ham?
That
you
was
know what?
my argument.
Adding ham to grilled cheese is new to me. Bacon, I've heard, but never adding ham. I'm
It's
in.
a Monte
that's good.
Cristo.
In.
Yeah, like sliced ham. What?
You
Like,
can add anything to bacon and cheese because bacon and cheese are perfect foods. On their
Hussein
own, they're
says,
amazing.
mm,
They
if it's a
help develop everything
triple-decker grilled
else.
cheese, a triple-decker grilled cheese.
The only thing better than cheese and
Mm.
bacon is more cheese and bacon.
Yes.
No, I hate cheese. I really do hate cheese.
That's because
Like-
you're also wrong.
I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with me. Okay, there's a large contingency of people.
I
that
was
would
really
agree
starting to
with
like
that.
you, but now, no, we
Yeah.
can never be
She,
friends.
see, but here's like, and this is the argument I get in with my wife is like, you can't judge me for not liking cheese. It just means there's more for you. Like, it's fine. I just don't
Yeah.
like it. It's weird. It's milk that has gone so bad it's solid. There's just something wrong with it. It's just gross and bad and.
Cottage cheese and solid,
Cheese.
and that's my favorite breakfast.
the best cheese is Swiss because with the holes there's less of it.
And there's nothing like a good, smelly, pungent cheese. They're my
so
favorites.
Ruin's in
Mm.
the chat. Him and I have had this debate. This is why he doesn't work with me anymore.
Tune in next time where Pepper Die will discuss if a hot dog is a sandwich.
Yes, because it's protein.
No, don't come back. We're just going to leave it there. We're going to let that hang.
So are peanuts. Peanuts aren't a sandwich, and they're protein.
But peanut butter is.
I think it's an
See?
open-faced sandwich.
We're falling down a hole here. We're falling down a hole here. I want to thank our guests, DM Drew, DM Cade, and just another captain. As someone with a family, school, and a job, and a D&D addiction, I value time immensely, and I value your time here with us immensely. Thank you so much for coming. To my co-host, DM Aphi, thank you. It's been a pleasure as always.
On
I
behalf
think
of
you're
all of
having
us,
us.
thank you very much for inviting us. We all had a great time.
Indeed.
Anytime you need us, we're there.
We will see you in 2 weeks for more Prep or Die. Check out our guest. DM Drew is here on Twitch as well as on YouTube and Instagram. DM Cade is with Cantrips and Coffee. You can find them on Instagram or anywhere you download podcasts. And just another captain. We just call him Captain. He has painting tutorials up on YouTube, and you can also find him on Instagram. We're a big, happy Instagram family. I think that's all I have to say. Thanks,
Yeah, I think
guys.
that's it. We'll see.
Let's get out of here. I'm going to go make grilled cheese.
Okay, and be
Gross.
wrong about it. That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll also be
Full-on
back
toast.
next Wednesday for some DCC, starting our
Sure, though.
level 1 campaign
Yes.
over on DM Jeremy's channel. So
yeah, we're
check it
playing
out.
some DCC.
Noob Crawl
It'll
coming
be
your
good.
way.
It'll be good. It'll be
Tune
good.
into my stream tomorrow night for another episode of D&D 5e.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't have a stream, but be good to yourself.
Be good to yourself.
Captain?
See y'all on Wednesday where I play a halfling.
Yeah, there we go. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.